8:30 Tuesday morning, and I am right here at this campsite on Paull Lake. And today what I'm going to do is just troll up Paull Lake for lake trout, and then I'm going to take this little channel that goes back to this area that I call the intriguing area. And if I kind of zoom out a little bit, this area here that's outlined in black is everything that burned last May. And with that fire, a lot of the lichens and vegetation that the woodland caribou depend on got burnt up. That'll all get replaced, but right now it's not suitable habitat for them. So there's kind of this area here that didn't get burned, and where I'm going, I know very few people, if any, have really ever ventured into this. There's really no point. You might catch a couple northern pike. I'm just going back there to explore. But with the woodland caribou being more concentrated in this southeast corner of the park, perhaps there's a higher concentration of them right now in this area. And if I paddle up here quietly, maybe I'll catch one down by the water, maybe get a good picture. Could be wishful thinking, but hey, it's worth a shot anyways. So we'll see how it goes.
How you doing? You a good girl? Are you a good girl? You having fun? Yeah? As you can see, Isla's starting to get agitated by the deer flies. There's only 2 of them up there right now. They just started. But last night at camp, I mean, there were like 5 to 10 on her head at the same time. It was crazy. So, and another thing, when I woke up this morning, there were like 30 mosquitoes between the tent and rain flies. So that's a first of this trip. Normally it's been 1, maybe 2 mosquitoes. So the bugs have hatched, and they're here to stay. I guess the good thing is I only have a few more days, and I basically had 7 days without bugs. For the most part, there were bugs, but they were very tolerable. But with those 7 days, I also had a lot of rain and wind, so there's definitely a trade-off there. All right, for a little day trip up to that little northeast bay. This is where it starts to narrow, and hopefully the journey ahead isn't too bad. I think the main thing that would make it terrible would be a lot of beaver dams, because it does get really narrow. So if I have to constantly get out and pull the canoe over that could get to be quite a pain. Also, the wind is going to die down once I get back here, which means if the deer flies are around, they're going to be hitting us. Wish us luck. Well, I just got to my first little challenge, and something pretty cool happened. There was a black bear right here. It sprinted across, and then it ran up the side of this hill like it was nothing. But it was way too quick for me to get the camera out in time. I mean, it was incredible how quick it scaled up. Maybe we'll try to take a little hike up there. It looks pretty tough to climb up, but he's long gone anyways. But first challenge, not too bad. So I think that black bear was bedded down right here, taking a little nap, probably to find some shelter from the bugs. And then when it heard us, or caught wind of us, it ran across here where the canoe and Isla is, and then it scaled the wall, and then it came right across here. It levels out a bit, and then right there it went up straight about 10 feet and was up and over and long gone. Pretty incredible. But this area is pretty scenic so far. We got over the first little hurdle. Not too bad. So we're at the little beach on Scenic Lake right now, and I hate to admit it, but this is the first time I've really played fetch with Isla this entire time, and it's her absolute favorite thing to do. But it's a nice little beach site. There's a couple old moose tracks, probably from a few days ago. The rain and waves have kind of washed them away, and we'll go check out the other side of this. Oh, there's a little stream that comes in here. That's cool. Isla, oh, come here. We don't want her disturbing any tracks. Isla, come here. Which it looks like there might be. Isla, slow down. Hey! So yeah, the moose have been running around here. Nice little spot. I came in from right over there. I trolled this shoreline, no bites. And then when I take off from here, I'll head up that way and then ultimately head back towards Paull Lake. But it's a nice little area back here, definitely. Isla's happy. She likes running back and forth on these sand beaches. But maybe I'll go for a little hike up that way. We'll grab a little snack and head back towards Paull Lake. Alright, well, it's evening time on Paull Lake. I just got back from a little fishing. And this is exactly why you bring two rods when you go on these trips. What happened with that one is I saw what I actually thought was my first moose of the trip. So I got excited, stopped paddling, and pulled up my camera to zoom in. Turned out to not be a moose. But by the time that passed, I had a snag, and I just popped it twice. And it snapped right in half. I didn't even put that much pressure on it. But anyways, more of the story, bring two rods. Nice little fire. Nice little view. Isla's already inside the tent because the deer flies just will not leave her alone. They're horrible out here. They don't bother me at all, but they really target her. So when I was out fishing for lake trout, I got back from Scenic Lake about 2 p.m. Came back here, went for a swim, and the deer flies started eating Isla right away. So I figured, well, it was windy enough. We got out on the lake and went trolling for lake trout for about 3 hours. And I did catch one. No, I didn't catch it. I had one small lake trout right up to the side of the canoe, and actually it hit it, and then the rod just stayed bent a little bit, and I started reeling, and there's absolutely no fight. And I was starting to think, well, maybe I just hit a log, caught a branch, and I was reeling that in. And then right before I could see it, it gave a little tug, and it turned out to be like a 14, 15-inch lake trout, and it just shook off. So after that happened, trolling along, starting to think about what I'm going to eat when I get out of here. I'm pretty convinced I'm going to stop at a good bar and restaurant and get a Supreme pizza. But then that got me thinking, well, what should I have for dinner tonight? And for some reason, fish sticks popped in my mind. I haven't had fish for about a day and a half now. So I decided, well, I'm probably not going to catch a lake trout. So I caught 2 small northern pike, filleted them up into little strips, and decided to whip together some instant mashed potatoes and fry them all up. Now this is going to be definitely too much fish for me tonight, but the plan is, since it is pretty slow out here with the lake trout fishing, I'm going to pack up right away in the morning, and for breakfast, whatever is left over for fish I'm going to have, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw it into that empty mashed potato bag and then sink it right out in front of camp, and that way the bottom of the lake will kind of act like a refrigerator, and when I get up and rock and roll tomorrow morning, I got fresh fish. So that's about it for this evening. I'm just going to have this, and I'm guessing the mosquitoes are probably going to pick up in about a half hour, 45 minutes, so I'm probably just going to join Isla in the tent and read a book and drift off to the loons and all the other wildlife out here. Alright, well, it's Wednesday morning on Paull Lake. I got everything taken down at the campsite. Everything's loaded up in the canoe, ready to go. Funny enough, about 1 minute after I got everything packed and the tarp taken down, it started to rain. It's just sprinkling now, but I'm all geared up and ready for it. I have 15 kilometers or about 9 miles to go to get to Bunny Lake. Yeah, that's my bow girl, enjoying the nice break from the deer flies. Well, action here on Paull. Woohoo! Paull Lake lake trout. Oh, I hope it doesn't shake off. These things are so tough. Wow, they're strong. This one is going to be lunch and dinner. This is a beautiful, probably 21. You done? All right, right now we're at the 300-meter portage that will ultimately take me towards Elephant Lake, and the rain just picked up again, but it's looking like it might let up a little bit, hopefully. I made one trip already, took the CCS pack and one of my dry packs. It starts out muddy, nasty, but quickly it gets more upland, and it's a pretty scenic, nice portage. Alright, so I made it to the top of the world. The south finger of Paull Lake is right over here. The portion that runs west would be right on the other side of this rock. The portage that will ultimately take you towards Elephant would be right there. And then here's a good view of the north arm. And obviously you can see this entire area burned up last May. But you can already see at this location a bunch of jackpine regen. Well, I just ran into my first hiccup of the trip in terms of finding a portage. Back this way, there's a little stream that flows into where I came from, and I was looking at the map and it looked like the portage more or less followed it and popped in. So I popped in this area, just around this corner, came around the bend, and then I just have this, you know, it's only a few steps, but it's a nuisance because I have to unload everything and carry everything over, whereas the regular portage would pop out over there. And I was looking and it didn't look like it got a whole lot of use, but then I saw where someone had cut a tree and I figured, well, this has got to be it. But there's probably a decent portage that pops in just up here. But, you know, towards the end of the trip, no hiccups really. This isn't so bad. I take that back. After getting through there and looking at the map again and seeing all the rocks that were scraped up from other canoes, that was the right route. It was just a surprise portage over some rocks. But so far, no hiccups in the portage category. All right, well, I just had another one of those unanticipated portages, and it's easy to see why I'm having these. It's because the water here is really low. Normally this would be underwater, this entire area, and therefore I would have been able to float over those rocks back there where I portaged, and then float over the rocks that are just on the other side here with no problem. But I'm not gonna lie, at this point I am a little bit nervous for what lay ahead. I'm supposed to only have 2 more portages before I hit Elephant Head Lake. But my next portage is 200 meters, but leading up to that for a ways on the map, it's just kind of a little trickle. So if that's low, it might be interesting. Hopefully it's not, but we'll see how it goes. Just waving goodbye to Mosquito Alley, aka the stretch from Paull Lake to Elephant Head Lake. I thought I was going to have 5 portages, but we picked up 2 bonus portages along the way. pretty good deal. And the mosquitoes just got horrible about halfway through there, and now the deer flies have popped out. But on a plus side, it didn't rain at all while we were going through there, and that just would have made things miserable. You can definitely tell that not very many people go through that way. I mean, the portages they're kind of tough to find, very, very little use. And I'm just happy to be on Elephant Head Lake, and I'm going to continue my way. I'm going to check and see how long it took to travel that approximately 2 kilometers. Maybe 2.75 kilometers. I started here, and then we just got past the 70-meter portage, and now I'm going to head up. All I have left today is a 125, and the P for portage right there, which is nothing. That's where I came in, and when I came in, I went up this way. But anyways, here's Bunny Lake, and we'll see what time it is. I know it took me a good couple hours just to travel this past couple kilometers, but if it's early, but it was 1 p.m. when I was on Paull Lake, so it's probably already getting to 3-4 o'clock. But if I can make a push, perhaps even to Leano tonight, and set up camp for tonight and tomorrow night, and maybe take off a day early, I might just do that. Nothing like the rain, mosquitoes, and an unexpected beaver dam. Well, making the final push for the day, I decided to bounce past Bunny Lake and push right on through to Leano there. But it's been raining for the past 2.5 hours. The mosquitoes have gotten absolutely terrible, especially on the portages. And about a half hour ago, 5 deer flies came out and they attacked Isla, and they left big welts right on her snout. Now she keeps whining. We have been in the canoe since 9 a.m. and it's probably tomorrow, since it's getting so late in the day, we're not going to do any fishing today. And then tomorrow we'll just kind of have a low-key day, hang out and do a little fishing if the weather cooperates. I mean, it's perfect walleye weather right now. I didn't even bother to throw the rain gear on. It's been really just a light mist, but it's actually starting to pick up right now as we're talking. And yeah, tomorrow will be a good day to rest up and then make the big drive home on Friday, which will probably take 10 to 12 hours, but we'll see what we can find for a campsite. Alright, well, it's a cloudy morning here on Leano Lake. I'm on the small island that has, it's actually the only island with a camp spot on this lake. And by the time I got in last night, I was tired, wet, exhausted. I just grabbed a bite to eat. I was able to find enough firewood this morning to get a little fire going to cook the lake trout that I caught yesterday. And you can definitely tell this site gets used more than others. This morning I had to walk about 30 or 40 yards into the woods to find firewood versus all the other sites. It's been like 5, maybe 10 yards. But here's a good spot to set up a tent if you have a 2 or a 4 person tent. And then also right back here, there's a little space that you could set up a 2 or 4 person tent if you had a larger group. But I think today is just going to be a lazy day. Probably enjoy some lake trout here shortly. And go out fishing for a little bit. And at some point, I'll probably just I don't know, grab some gear that I'm not using and haul it up to the truck. It's just a short paddle across this bay and then a short walk, and then that's where the entry point for Leano is. But yeah, go check on the truck, bring a load of gear over there. I'm pretty sure I bear-proofed my truck before I headed in, where I didn't have any wrappers or anything like that where it would entice a bear to check out my truck and try to get in. But we'll find out today. And I was originally planning on taking off Saturday morning, but I'm well ahead of schedule, and to see everything I wanted to see along this trip, and I made my route, had some great times and great fishing. And I think what I'll do is probably just take off right away tomorrow morning, which will be Friday. And I'll probably, by the time I get home, it's not going to be until about 8 or 9 p.m. Saturday will be a unpacking day. Unpack all the wet gear and dry it, wash all my clothes. And then Sunday can be the day at rest up for work on Monday. So Isla and I are just going to enjoy our last day out here. The bugs aren't bad at all right now, but this morning when I woke up, between the tent and the rain fly, there's probably about 50 mosquitoes buzzing around. So they are definitely coming on strong in the evenings. But yeah, I just have one more evening of that, and we'll be home sweet home. When I take Isla shed hunting for deer antlers in the spring, she never finds them, but she has no problem finding deer femurs, and it looks like she maybe found a femur of a moose here. She's finding bones, but not the right one. Drop it. Drop. Hey. Sit. 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 But yeah, she could do this all day long. Drop. Sit. Loading Isla in the canoe. I don't think I've shown this yet. Isla. Okay. Hey. Okay. No. Come on. Okay. Sometimes she's good, sometimes she's stubborn. Isla loading routine, take 2. Isla, okay. No. Okay. Okay. Good girl. At least I'm not getting rained on.